who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Oh my God, yay.
You know, we are in our storefront studio here at World of Wonder. So we had the Hollywood Boulevard with all sorts of lovely people walking by.
We just had a chicken walk by a second ago.
Yeah. So
a man in a chicken suit.
You can listen to it. But you know what we're doing? We're going to count down the top 10 things that make us go,
Wow.
But there's a twist.
Exactly. This week, it's top 10 things that make us go, thank you.
Thank you.
Right?
It's our grateful episode. It's our Thanksgiving episode.
Yes.
Our Grateful Dead
We
episode.
go to great lengths to theme these things,
I
people.
know.
This was a hard one for me because I'm not a very
so
grateful
bitter.
person.
You're so
I'm
bitter.
a bitter person. And I really had to sit down and think, like, what am I grateful for?
Tom, number 10.
Number 10.
For number 10, I'm grateful for porn.
Okay.
And I might be, because I can beat myself up.
Whoa.
Hey.
That sounds kinky.
For certain behaviors that I might have some shame or guilt about, but I want to throw gratitude at them. And I am grateful that porn exists. I'm grateful for the porn industry because the porn industry does so much to build the internet, so much of the technology and the commerce that we so enjoy.
And it's there for you when nobody else is.
It is there for you. And I remember, I go back to the 80s when...
Mandate all the fun magazines,
Yes. But even the video
Honcho.
the idea that you could, but all that. But before, I was in the 70s and 80s. I was too young to see porn and didn't have access to it. And then the 80s, it was the AIDS epidemic, and you could use videos to get you off, to enjoy, to have a sexual release, which is also very healthy, I'm told, to,
Yes, several times a day you're supposed
yourself.
to.
Yes,
Several times a day?
But I don't want to shame you. This is why you're in a hoodie, because you're like
A little
espousing porn in disguise. Shady.
We can green out my face or something, but I do, and I appreciate people who make porn.
Yes, well, the thing is, living in Los Angeles, there's a big porn industry here. It's the center of a lot of porn, and we get to know a lot of porn stars just in our day-to-day, given. And it's interesting to me that in gay society, that the porn star is at the very tippy top. Like, to have a porn star boyfriend is considered very chic.
Yes, and that I think is newer. I think it's more social media because there used to be some shame around porn.
I don't think there is anymore.
And I think people, because everyone in a weird Kardashian way is kind of Instagramming themselves, if not full-on porno, they're doing
porno-like
poses.
Well, I can't think of anybody more fabulous in the gay community than like Boomer Banks. I think he's got it all, don't you? I mean, he's just handsome and funny and smart and clever, and he's talented and he has other things. And he's got
a big guy.
He's a big boy.
Big boomer.
But I think, is there a difference between the way gay porn is perceived and straight porn?
There is,
yes,
because the women don't have that same. Like, you were never going to find a female
consensuality, right?
You're never going to find Brooke Astor hanging out with Jenna Jameson, even though they're both passed on. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're never going to have that dichotomy.
Did Jenna Jameson pass?
Oh, no. I mean, that's not what I meant.
I can't go on.
Oh, dear. But what I mean is that like, you're never going to have that dichotomy of the high-low in straight society.
And I should say that that's why I'm treading lightly, because I'm talking about porn that's produced, porn that's not exploitive, that people are consensually doing it.
Right.
That I think
not snuff films. And you aren't advocating snuff films.
Not, and I think like that, or any kind of degradation. It's like people who are expressing themselves sexually and they're doing it professionally.
But here's the thing also, it seems that hasn't the porn industry almost evolved out of existence, as you were saying, not just the Kim Kardashian piece of it, but, well, I guess let's talk about Kim Kardashian, because she had a sex tape and that was the making of her.
Right.
And isn't so much the stuff that we consume as porn, it is just amateurs doing it themselves.
Well,
it's
that's just it right there. Because
it's on Tumblr, right?
I know that Chi LaRue has had a hard time of it in the past couple of years, but
it's all illegally downloaded and watched illegally, and I can be guilty of that.
Exactly.
But it's also not produced by a studio or an entity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't like studio porn. I do not like that. I like XTube. I like Pornhub. I like seeing real people. I don't like the glossy studio produced, like slick productions.
I'm with you on that. I like reality. But you like the industry.
I think they influence each other. And I think I like edgier produced stuff. There's stuff like, I can't even say them out loud, but like Fucker Mate, Guys in Sweatpants.
What? I'm too shocked. I
think
go
Michael
on.
Lucas makes some nice stuff, some beautiful international beauties.
I love Michael Lucas as a person.
Yep.
I've interviewed him. I've talked to him. I've met him socially. But I don't like his porn. I prefer gritty, grungy, like
you just
real
like
people.
someone with a camera at home.
I like the idea that somebody is looking through the bedroom window and doing your next door neighbor.
Do you prefer solo or group?
Well, it depends on the day. It depends on the night. I mean, it depends on what. Sometimes I like silver foxes. Sometimes I like twinks. Sometimes I do like gingers.
Yes.
Sometimes I like a good, Asian boy. There's never anything that I like. Any given day,
and we'll end with this because Blake's going to miss the sign. I don't want to go into deep. But I like a little narrative, and I like to add my own narrative on top of their narrative. And there you have it. But I am grateful this Thanksgiving 2017 for porn.
Oh, well, thank you. James, what has you overflowing with gratitude?
Number 9.
This sounds really self-serving, and I am no,
but it's my own porn.
No. I'm in a weird place culturally because I'm not famous, but I have.
Oh, you are.
No, but I have a little bit of a notoriety, and Blake can attest to this. That it's not. I don't go out on the street and I'm not mobbed, but a couple times a week, someone will find me and someone will come up to me and tell me, we'll hug me and we'll take selfies. And
at DragCon New York City, you were mobbed. You could not get from one side of the convention hall to the other.
I feel like New York was even probably bigger for you than LA was.
Exactly, but it's that type of thing where it's not like overwhelming to me. It's not like I can't like deal with it. But I do have a really nice dedicated group of people, friends who aren't
sounds
friends
very
yet.
manageable.
Yes, and I sometimes get like really nice things on Twitter, Facebook, things like that. I got a letter that I just want to read to you right now
That's
because
not self-serving. It's beautiful. This is a fan letter.
This is a fan letter, and this is something that someone sent to me a couple months ago. April from Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is April and her husband.
Oh.
She wanted to tell me. And it's sort of long, but I'm going to read it.
It looks like the beginning of a porn movie there. I mean, they look very sweet, but there's tongue action going on.
She says, Darling James St. James, my name is April. I'm a 24-year-old graduate student who just completed my master's in criminal justice and is moving to a PhD program in criminal and sociology. However, I'm also an active duty military wife to a man I love dearly, and it's because of him that I'm writing to you. We both grew up learning and cherishing gay culture through family members and close friends, so naturally, as adults who frequent YouTube, we found World of Wonder and have become obsessed with their YouTube channel. It's here that we found your work with transformations and numerous other videos you've done for World of Wonder. While we're both very familiar with Club Kid Movement and Party Monster, your work on transformation is incomparable, hysterical, and inspiring. I just wanted to emphasize how much we adore your work and, of course, your strength and determination. Now, here's the interesting part. Currently, our life is accumulation of uncertainty and turmoil as he's serving a 9-month deployment right now in the Middle East. We're about halfway done, and we just live day by day. I won't lie, it sucks, but you learn to make it work. After a particularly hard couple of weeks where I hadn't heard from him, he finally reemerged and called me. During his absence, we received tragic news from other families, but you all know when something happens, they don't call you unless they know for certain that it's your husband. Of course, the initial relief washed over me, but you just try and make conversation as normal as possible. Ignore all the questions you want to ask. However, he surprised me as one of the first things he asked was whether I'd seen the last episode of Transformations, which at the time was 152. Even halfway across the world, he wouldn't miss your show as you were his absolute favorite gay icon and his favorite icon of all time. He had seen it right before I stopped hearing from him and wanted to talk about it. We discussed the look and the guests, but then quickly started laughing and carrying on about our favorite moments on the show. It wasn't until after I hung up that I realized, at least for a little while, it felt like everything was normal and the world had stopped just so we could take an easy breath and laugh. My husband is one of the bravest people I know, and his support for my advocacy of the LGBTQ community, even while in the military, makes me proud all the time. I just wanted to write to you and tell you, and genuinely thank you. In one of the darker times of his deployment, you were our relief, even if all you did was be yourself, which is amazing.
That's beautiful.
James,
Isn't that really?
That is really touching. That is amazing.
When I got it, I started crying, and it was just one of those things where it was a bad day or something, and it just really lifted me up.
James has a show every week. It comes out. Yes.
Pretty
much. There's hundreds of episodes.
There are lots of episodes.
It's transformations.
And we have many more coming.
It's kind of like a better sci-fi's face-off, where a different makeup artist, a different
drag queen, different club personality,
turns you into
whatever.
Yeah. I've seen you as a tree running around the office.
I loved your Groot comments. Yeah.
So it's an amazing show that everyone should watch. But you are grateful for your fans, and I guess it would be tacky of me to make the joke of, isn't this handwriting on the envelope, doesn't it look suspiciously like James' own writing?
Oh, dear.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Number 8.
Well, James, I'm not grateful for my fans because I don't have any. No, I am grateful for, I can't even speak, I am grateful for my teeth.
Yes.
Because, I'm English originally, I'm British. And and you go up in England and everybody there has awful teeth. They're all like tombstones and they're all crooked.
It's not like in America where at age 4 they put you in braces.
No, there's no braces at all. And they were sort of yellow. I was always like really conscious of them and self-conscious about them and just hideous teeth, and I tried like whitening them. I would brush them in a frenzy. And you know what really is weird? I ultimately just felt I was a bad person, and that's why I had yellow teeth. That somehow
it was a reflection on your soul.
Yes. And so, long story short, about a few years ago, I went to the dentist and I said, I want new teeth. And he said, well, I can do that for you. I mean, it's expensive. It was like, I don't know, about $1,100 a tooth.
Yeah.
But what they do is they grind, and I didn't have them all
veneers,
done.
yeah.
Yes. They grind them down and they say, do not look at yourself. So immediately I looked at myself, Nosferatu. Yes. They were like sharp dagger points. And then they like put on molds and temporary ones, and then they fit on the new ones. And it's like about 4 sessions, each lasting about 4 hours long, and you have to keep your mouth open the whole time. In like S&M where they do those like mouth gag thing. Well, I have one of those things that kept my mouth open.
Yeah.
I tell you, it is hard. It is very hard.
I'm thinking of doing it this year. It's very expensive. I have tooth shame. I have very bad because my teeth fell apart in my meth period of the 2000s.
James, I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
Like, it's painful and it's long. But
wait, they don't put you out or anything?
Well, you can be put out, but actually they prefer it if you're awake because they can maneuver around your mouth better if you're conscious. I guess like many things.
You were so brave during it because you did not. There was no complaints. You just came back with some choppers, and you got like the right size. Like they aren't.
Sometimes
too
they're chiclet.
big.
Sometimes
I want you to get huge ones. I want you to just have
like Bette Midler from Hocus Pocus.
You choose the color, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I want that, the sort of radiant white.
Yes.
And he's like, no, you do not want that. I managed to persuade him to go a few shades wider because I was like, what is the point of having them if people don't notice them? I want them to sort of.
Why get a boob job and make them small? Like,
exactly.
Make
I want everyone to know I have fake teeth. And
have you found that your self-confidence has gone up and your...
I just love my teeth, and I don't mind opening my mouth now and smiling.
Are you still an awful person?
It didn't fix that. I thought it would cure my personality.
I'm so snarky for a Thanksgiving show. I'm sorry.
All right, so I'm grateful for my teeth.
Yes.
You're grateful for porn, and you're grateful for your fans. We will continue our countdown of amazing thankfulness. I have a question for you, though, in the meantime.
Yes, please.
Let's take a quick break. Gratitude increases your overall feeling of happiness, which in turn leads to an average increase in lifespan.
Okay.
True or false? You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm here with Tom Campbell, our Chief Creative Officer.
Yes, I'm here.
And James St. James.
Darling.
Editor of the Wow Report Literary Sensation. And Blake.
Hi, guys.
I am very grateful for you.
Yes.
I'm grateful for all of you.
So before we're counting down the top 10 things that make us go,
wow.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow, and thank you.
One more time. We're counting down the top 10 things that make us go,
Thank you.
And before the break, the question was that gratefulness increases happiness.
Sure.
Which leads to an increase in lifespan.
I thought
True
that's what you told us
or
before
Yeah,
we started.
Why would that not be true?
So I'm going to hope it's true.
False. Well, okay, so a University of New South Wales study in 2015.
Oh my God.
Studies show, yeah, that's right, 720,000 middle-aged women were followed long-term to determine which factors related to their mortality. And you know what? It's false.
What?
Yes, it does not increase being happy.
So being a bitter old bitch is
You're going to live just as long.
Well, that's ladies. Maybe it's different for guys. I'm going to hold out some hope.
But here's the caveat. It's the poor health of those individuals that makes them unhappy that might explain why they have higher death rates. So you're ill, so you're unhappy, so you die sooner. So, you know.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I'd want to die sooner.
Who can relate?
Number 7, Tom.
Number 7.
Things I am thankful for this Thanksgiving show. Pizza. I'm grateful for pizza. Pizza.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You.
You have a long relationship with pizza?
Well, again, my first one was porn, so I'm sort of doing another pizza. And this pizza is something that I kind of beat myself up for, but I love pizza. And
How often do you have it?
Too often. Do you know the
No, that you're skating past me.
Of course I am.
Is it twice a week?
My hood, I'm wearing a hood that's covering my chin because of the pizza I'm eating.
Is it twice a week?
I will go periods where I don't have it for a long time, and then it's when I have it and how I have it. I get it delivered.
And do you eat it like in one sitting?
I used to always get pizza and have some left over in the morning. You know, when I woke up face down on the street, there'd be some pizza left for breakfast with some orange juice. Now the pizza kind of goes in one sitting.
Is it a large, extra large?
No, I get either gluten-free or I get small.
So you're pretending to yourself
pretending.
that you're doing something healthy.
You do not want to read like on the Domino's site. They have the information for like how much it's almost like slices only 400 slices.
Wait, do you have a favorite between Domino's, Little Caesars, Pizza Hut?
Domino's is as close to me and it gets there, but there's lots of good pizza. I mean, this is the thing about pizza. Pizza is like sex in that it's good no matter what.
And then you cry afterwards.
You can kind of say,
yes,
that's good, it's good. But you can have, like after school growing up, we had no pizza, we had no money, so we would take English muffins and spaghetti sauce and like American cheese out of the wrapper and put them in the toaster oven and have pizza.
I remember that.
You can go to Matzah on Highland and Melrose, the very high end, and you have the most gourmet, delicious.
But that is the most amazing pizza.
It is.
It has a special crispness and a little.
I've never been.
You have to go.
It's right on the corner. We'll go.
And you can just sit on the counter.
It's got the stone ovens, and it's so full of salt, though. I mean, they all are.
Okay.
But I love pizza. And I looked at this.
Can I ask you that? How do you feel about the stuffed crust pizza? Because I think Domino's do that, right? Where the crust itself is filled with cheese.
I'm a little bit more of a purist. I don't want cheese in my crust. I feel like that was a Donald Trump ad years ago with Ivanka. They came together and they're like, there's cheese in the crust. It's so very, very rich. But this is something I heard on NPR and I typed up, which is, do you know that 9 out of 10 Americans will eat pizza at least once in the next 30 days? Blake, have you had pizza in the past month?
I'm sure I have. Oh, yes, I did, yeah.
Have you had pizza at all in the last 30 days?
I haven't, but in talking about this, I think I'm going to go home and get
craving.
some.
We should have some.
I should have brought some.
I think pizza must be more popular in America than it is in Italy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, is pizza even an Italian thing? I've heard that
It
they don't
is,
really
in fact, because
so.
it was brought over after World War II is when it gained popularity in America. Yeah. And my dad has a story about the first time he went on a date with my mom, and they had pizza, and it was the first time he'd ever had pizza, and the cheese went and he got first degree second burns on his
because he didn't know how to eat pizza.
And it all fell on top of it. It was like their first date together.
I suppose that was the last time he ate pizza.
I was about to say about your mother, I don't know, but.
Well, no, it always also seems that like pizza in California, pizza is the ultimate evil in terms of like carb consumption. It's like there's a special state of evilness reserved for pizza
It's true.
by Californian gay men, mainly, I think. Right?
And yet, and people always talk about New York pizza and how fabulous it is and everything like that. To me, it really is just a wet napkin with some like tomato
so funny.
sauce on
When
it.
I go to New York, I have to sort of it's so because I walk everywhere in New
Right,
York,
right.
and it's just like coming back from the theater. Look at that pizza shop. One time I had left the theater and I went in Times Square and I got 2 slices of pizza and I was sort of secret eating outside, like no one knows, like I'm like eating pizza, and I ran into Todrick Hall signing autographs outside of Kinky Boots. It's like Tom, I'm like, but I love
a glamorous
I love
story.
pizza, and I find I'm a drug-free, alcohol-free person, and pizza is
And
like
porn.
a,
Pizza and
it's,
porn.
It's a warm hug, and it puts me to sleep. So it's my drug of choice right now, pizza, and I'm grateful for it in all of its forms.
I love it. Pizza. James, what are you grateful for at number 6?
You can't pick pizza.
Number 6.
No. But in that same vein of something that you just is a warm blanket that you could wrap around yourself, and it's something that's been there for me my entire life, is my stories, my soap operas. I love soap operas.
But isn't that whole soap opera world over? Isn't
No!
it like
Well, then-
porn, it's over?
How dare you? Okay, here's the thing.
We're
though.
grateful for things that are over.
I've been watching General Hospital
Yes.
for 43 years now.
So is my Aunt Hazel, who's 92. Go
Yeah,
on.
okay. Yeah, so it has been a part of my life. It is Monica, Laura, Bobby.
Are they all still there?
They're all still there.
my gosh.
And to see them, it's like seeing like a beloved grandmother. Like they're
You have spent more time watching them than you have
with
your
my
own
actual family.
Yes.
Yeah, Bobby was a hotsy-totsy prostitute. She is now a great grandmother on the show, and so like I feel like these are just part of my life. I've watched at
Jackie
different
Zeman.
times.
Jackie
Jackie
Zeman.
Zeman. Yeah, I've watched All My Children, One Life to Live, Ryan's Hope, Edge of Night, The City, Port Charles, As the World Turns, Another World, Search for Tomorrow, and The Nurses.
Ryan's Hope?
It's Ryan's Hope at one point. I do remember on Ryan's Hope that Delia, remember Delia?
Yes.
She befriended a gorilla at the zoo. He escaped. He climbed up a building, threw her off, and she got psychic powers because of it. I totally, I remember every story from every single episode of every show. And I was, going through, because I watch Days of Our Lives now, and I wanted to list a few of my favorite storylines.
Okay.
Supposedly, Days of Our Lives is back and better than ever.
It
that
is
true?
because Will is back. Will, the gay
original
character.
Will.
The original Will is back. He's back from the dead. He's zombie Will, and he thinks he's been brainwashed into thinking that he's his mother's husband, which is sort of an odd, it's a whole weird situation. Anyway, my favorite stories from Days of Our Lives are, of course, when Marlena was possessed by the devil.
I watched it then,
Yes,
and
and
I
she-
never watched
That
it.
was when I was working at
The
ABC
90s.
daytime. It was like 97.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she was
95.
levitating and spinning around,
my
and she
gosh,
turned
that
into a
sounds
puma.
fabulous.
Remember, she turned into a
Yes.
panther and jumped off the building. There was a time when Billy had an abortion, and she threw the fetus into the swamp, and the fetus survived and grew into Swamp Girl, who was this beautiful woman. When they took the mud off her face, they were like, "You're beautiful," and she couldn't speak English or anything. And then it turns out that she was really Princess Greta von Habsburg, and in order to reclaim the crown, she had to go through this virtual reality and battle the snake. And she was like, she was at Eve in the Garden of Eden. It was insane. There was another time Vivian was buried in a coffin for seemed like years, and then
Buried alive.
Buried alive, yeah. Well, she buried Carly, and then Brady buried her in a sarcophagus. There was a serial killer one time. This was a few years ago, and I'm sorry if I'm boring you right here.
I'm loving
What
the
is to
stories.
be bored by
Like,
any of these
what have I
storylines?
been missing?
There was a serial killer who basically killed off the entire cast. There were like 3
That's
people
brilliant.
left on the show. And then it turns out that they were all still alive and living on an island in the South Seas.
Fantastic.
And the island had been made to look exactly like Salem. And it was called Maliswan, which is New Salem backwards. And it was Marlena who had been killing everyone. And she would, little old Alice, who always made the donuts. She was like
Yes.
98 years old. And all she did, she'd toddle onto the set and make some donuts and then leave. Which they choked Alice with the donut. That's how Marlena killed her. Everybody, they
died in character.
In character. Like I said, right now Will is back. The hot, gorgeous Will. It has there's a boy named Theo on it who's a teenage boy with autism. He's really cute.
You DVR?
Yeah, how do you watch? What's your how?
Yeah, well,
how
I do DVR, but it's also on on demand. You can watch it.
All right.
So anyway, it's something that I love.
I thought, what was the thing the other few years ago about soap operas being over?
Well, they've
All my
canceled.
children and One Life to Live are gone.
They've canceled. So there's only 4 left on the air right now.
But they're doing well.
Well, no, Bold and the Beautiful and Young and the Restless are huge in Italy and overseas.
Yes.
And that's what keeps them alive. General Hospital and Days of Our Lives still struggle with
Knock on wood.
cancellation
Knock on
every
wood.
year, but so far they're so good.
Well, General Hospital's on ABC, Days of Our Lives on NBC, and The Bold and the Beautiful's on CBS.
Yeah.
So you watch them all every day?
I do. I go home and watch them every damn night.
Okay.
And then I do Arrow, and then Flash, and then Supergirl,
and every documentary on Netflix.
Time to get up in the morning and come back to work. So for my
That's why I couldn't go out with you tomorrow night.
Oh, right.
So I can't miss Will.
Number 5.
For number 5, I am grateful for. See, this theme I found really difficult because, like you, James, I realized I'm just a miserable person, and I'm really not that grateful. Because I've seen the social media trend of like do a gratitude journal, and
Yes.
I could never think of anything to like. I have a great life, but I just
You
felt
do
so
have a really
awful
nice
to
life.
write down. I am grateful for this. I just couldn't do it.
Well, it feels
And then-
self-serving and like you're being like
Right.
I have a great life.
So last night I woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep, and I was like, I better do some research about sleep because that's my pick.
I know.
Sleep.
I
You're
got
grateful
an
for
email at 3:30, I think.
That's right. That's because I couldn't sleep. So I went online and I did a how happy are you test. I found happy.com and I did how happy are you? It was Happy Fire, I think.
How happy
And
are
I
you?
did all the questions and I answered. And before you get the answer, you have to put in your email address and all your name. And I was like, fuck that.
Right.
Oh, that's a
So I was
scam.
like, I could tell though the way the questions were going that I'm not a very grateful or happy person. So I didn't need the results anyway.
Thank God we didn't have to tell him ourselves that he found that out online.
But it did occur to me as I was lying there sleepless last night that the thing I am grateful for is sleep.
Do you have trouble sleeping?
No. I don't. And I love it.
You're one of those people
love
that can
with
just
you.
like you close your eyes and you're out no matter
I
what.
close my eyes and I'm out. But what I
wish I-
love most about sleep, I think, is that first time you wake up and you're like, I'm warm and cozy in the blankets. I don't have to get out of bed. I can just doze here. And last night, I swear to you, I dozed from about 3 a.m. until 6 a.m. when it was time to get up. It was just blissful. But the thing is, if you're enjoying sleep too much and you're awake, you're not really sleeping. So I'm actually kind of tired because I was just like,
Right, you're in
just
that in-between
loving.
place.
I was having an orgy of dozing.
But think how many grateful things. I mean, we're being silly with a little bit silly with our
Right.
thankfulness. But it's like you have a beautiful home, you have a partner next to you, you have
I-
a warm,
right.
comfortable blanket. There's a lot
Gorgeous
of
family. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of really good things to be happy
Absolutely.
about.
And sleep, no, absolutely. In all seriousness, yes. And sleep actually is a really crucial part of it.
Well, it's Arianna Huffington has been saying for the
She
past couple of
has.
years. She's been a great advocate of the way to be successful is to sleep your way to the top.
Not to give away too much, was we came down to do the show. You were lying face down on the floor. Were you sleeping?
I was not sleeping. No, I was sobbing.
different.
But sometimes, because I noticed that sometimes like sleep can be an escape, and if you find yourself sleeping too much, then it might
they
be
say
a sign.
That's depression,
Yeah,
that you're
uh-huh.
depressed if you sleep too much.
Of course, I never get any REM sleep because I have to get up and pee every 10 minutes. I have a prostate the size of a watermelon. So,
And you have some sleeping issues
I
sometimes, too.
have sleep apnea.
Oh, do you
I was
have the
diagnosed
machine?
about a year now, and I have a machine that I put on my nose.
Oh, you have the-
It's not the full mask; it's a nose mask because Theron told me I should do it, and it took me a while. I had to get deviated septum surgery so it would like open up my air passages. But it helps. It works.
It does.
I think probably eating pizza before bed does not help my
No.
sleep. I don't do it all the time. But sleep is delicious. I'm with you.
It is
Sleep
delicious.
It's like, because this is maybe, I don't know, working too hard or being too crazy or just going all the time. But if someone said, Tom, you could go to Paris for 2 weeks, or you could sort of sleep in and just, it's a very tough choice.
but it's funny
is.
because I fight sleep. I
Oh,
am
you
somebody
do? All
who
right.
will lie in bed and my mind will whirl and whirl and whirl and whirl, and I will put off going to sleep for as long as I can. But once I'm asleep, I never want to get up again. But
That's the thing I have, which is I never want to leave where I am. Like if I'm at work, I don't want to go home. If at home, I don't want to go to work. If I'm asleep, I don't want to wake up. If I'm like at the beach, I want to stay at the beach. I don't know.
Well, there's an actual thing for like that reluctance to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
It's called dysania. Dysania? Dysania? And I definitely have that.
Dysania.
Dysania, darling.
Okay.
Right. So, I mean, I suppose the other thing I love about sleep is I love getting into bed and just surrendering everything. It's like, fuck it, I haven't done it, it doesn't matter, it can wait. I just love that sort of...
Do you watch TV before you go to bed?
I don't watch
smart.
TV.
I mean, I do find, the idea of sleep on it, they say sleep on a problem or something, that always happens. And I do know, it's sort of like things aren't going well, I can't figure out what to do with this treatment or whatever, and you wake up and inevitably...
I do find when I'm writing, if I'm working on something and it doesn't come to me, and I will go lie down, and just as I drop off, it'll be like, oh, and I'll get up and I'll write it down, and then I'll go back to sleep, and then I'll just start to do, and then I get up and I have to write again, and I will do that for like an hour because it's that idea of like just as you're falling asleep, that's when all your defenses are down, and that's when the idea can come to you.
And the subconscious kind of like regenerates.
But I think you just have to let it go, because I used to have that thing of like, oh, you got to write it down because you always forget what it is that you remember so clearly just before you go to sleep.
Only
well, now, do you also, you don't look at your device before
That
you
is the worst thing. I look at my device last thing at night, and when I wake up at 2 in the morning, I look at my device.
But they do say that the light is what's bad for you. It
is bad for you, and it does wake you up. And in fact, if I'm on the phone in bed, if Billy's there, it'll wake him up too. So even though there's no noise or anything, just the fact the light is on, sending out the brain-frying microwaves.
Oh, see, because I use my phone. I have a little nightlight in it, and I keep it by my bedside all night because I can't be in the dark.
I don't think you've...
sounds like
you haven't
different.
Slept in like 4 or 5 years.
That's why I'm so crazy. That's why the dark
crazy
circles.
Dark circles. No.
Sleep is delicious. I mean, it's like that Shakespeare quote, because Macbeth kills the king and basically is...
Spoiler alert.
Struck... I've written the whole plot. Is struck down with guilt, and he can't sleep anymore. And
to sleep, chance to dream.
That thing, and talking about it's something like knits up the raveled sleeve of care. It's such a brilliant image of this sort of ratty old sleeve that's all tangled and torn, and that sleep just knits everything back together nicely. And it kind of does. It does work. It really does. For everything sleep, visit the National Sleep Foundation's website at sleepfoundation.org.
Certainly got very professional.
Or he has a piece of that or something. He's getting paid by that.
Okay, got to take a quick break.
Is there a sleep quiz?
Let's take a nap. Yes, there is a sleep quiz. How much of our lives do we spend asleep? Now, that's too easy, so there's a little question for you, Tom. How much of its life does a cat spend asleep? You're listening to The Wow Report on Radio Andy, SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back to The Wow Report. I'm here with Tom Campbell, James St. James, Blake Jacobs. And we're sharing the things that we are thankful for. So we're counting down the top 10 things that make us go,
thank you.
Yeah.
Instead of wow. Yeah.
James, you give me a very bored expression.
I'm not falling asleep.
All this talk of sleeper.
Yeah.
All right, so before the break, the question was, how much of our lives do we spend, apart from you, James, clearly, how much do we spend asleep?
Well, obviously, it's a third, and then cats are 2/3.
I'll go with that.
Okay. You're right. How did you know that?
Well, because the way God set up it is our lives is that we work for a third, we sleep for a third, and then we play for a third.
God
didn't put in play.
Yeah,
God didn't make the weekend.
That's what God told us to do.
I'm going to read Genesis again.
Yeah, where am I going to find that in the Bible? So,
and cats sleep all the time, and cats are very inducive, but...
I would have said more than 2/3, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I said like 9/10. So, Tom...
I don't want to talk about cats on the show. I don't want to talk about cats.
What is the number 4 thing for which you are grateful?
Number 4.
Pussycats.
What's new, Pussycat?
I am a big cat person. I talk about it more with you guys on the show than any place else because I'm afraid of being, shamed and labeled and stereotyped. But cats, my own cats.
How many do you have?
2.
No, you have an outdoor cat.
Do you have 2.5? Is that 2.5?
I have 2.
Okay.
And
wait a minute, but you've
okay. And he's back. There's a guy who I don't know if you can see or hear, but there's a guy who comes and rolls the awning back and forth.
And it's got a lovely big chain and a big cog.
We can record it any time of the day, and he's there.
It's you. He comes to see you.
You guys are probably aware that I was raised by a cat, Kitty Cat Campbell. You guys all know about Kitty Cat Campbell, right? Is it just me?
I know Kitty Cat Campbell.
Thank you. If we can, I have a picture of me and Kitty Cat Campbell I want to put up. But when I was 2 years old, we got Kitty Cat Campbell, and I was the youngest of three, and my mom was around, but doing things for the house. My brother and sister were at school, and I just spent all my time with that cat. And so I didn't realize until later in life that I have learned. I know cat fluently. And I know how to like blink at them. I know how to make them comfortable. I know where they like to be touched. I used to, whatever. So like, I am a
You are
cat
the cat
man.
whisperer.
And there was a huge point in LA in my adult life that I did have a cat because I lived in apartments and I was running around. And I finally got a place that could have pets. And so I have these cats and they make me happy. But now I realize, as Facebook and social media will do, I am so targeted as a cat person. Like I can't even all the memes and the videos.
I'm always sending you cat things.
You sent me two last night, which were
did.
genius. That was really. What time were you awake? What happened? What happened?
There were two news items. One was about a cat is wanted as the key witness in a murder, or as the key suspect. So suspect in a murder. And the other is about how a cat rescued a family, saved the family's life from a burning house.
And I was
Cats don't do things like
Good
that.
cat, bad cat. We'll post the links on
Yes.
the Wow Report.
But and I have to. It's the way that straight people have to be empathetic toward gay people because it's not in their experience.
Is that how we have to be towards you?
Yes, but I don't hate dogs at all. But I wasn't raised
just
by a
don't feel the
dog. I
dog
was raised
thing.
by a cat. And when I see dog stuff on the internet or on someone else's internet, they're like, "Oh, look at that puppy." I'm like, "Okay," but then the cat stuff comes on, and it makes me so happy.
What is the best cat thing? Can you?
There's one every day. There's Daily Kitty, which is a Facebook thing that I've signed up for. And most recently, I will send them to Adam. Adam and I will sort of like tweet each other, or not tweet, but text each other because I don't want a digital footprint. And there was a picture. It must have been like a cat. It must have been in England because the steering wheel was on the other side. But on the side of someone's car in the passenger seat was like a little hammock, and there was this cat that's sitting in the hammock in the middle of traffic, driving by, looking at the world. That just seems so good to me.
But cats will never love you the way a dog will love you.
I know, but this is why I'm alone. But I feel like a dog would love anybody.
And it's not that the
And then I
cat
have to-
doesn't love you. It's a resonance between, it's two energies vibrating. It's not that there isn't a relationship, and it's not that it isn't about love. It's just that the dog's love is very licky, paw, demonstrative.
Anything you want. And cats are kind of like, and they'll come in the morning
So wait
now,
a
my
minute,
cats
what
come
you're
to me.
saying that is, if a cat loves you, then you must be really special because a dog will love anybody.
Growing up with Kitty Cat Campbell.
It's validation
Kitty Cat
that you're a
Campbell
good
had
person.
3 kids and 2 people and was indoor, outdoor, was busy all day long. And, I was a kid, so I didn't always hold the cat the right way. And I was doing some things. But then at night, you'd feel the little like the cat got on the bottom of the bed and sort of would move her way up, Kitty Cat Campbell. And you put
Under the covers?
It was so simple. No, but she would come and sleep with me. And as my brother and sister got older, went to college, and she wouldn't sleep with my parents. She would come exclusively to me, and we'd wake up in the same position. However we did.
that's so
it's Kitty
beautiful.
Cat Campbell. So I'm a freak, but I was raised by cats. I'm not allergic. I think people who say they're allergic are just rejecting me.
Are you a cat or dog person, James?
I'm neither. I don't have nothing around me.
I thought you were a sort of bunny rabbit person.
Oh, I have a giant rabbit in my house, but he's just there because I can't get rid of him.
It's a sculpture.
You brought in a mannequin for him to talk to.
I did bring. He does have a new friend. He has a Betty Page mannequin to talk to.
Imagine James sleepless for nights with mannequins and bunny rabbits.
But I kill plants. I kill fish. Like I can't. I'm not responsible enough to have.
And cats
an
are low
animal.
maintenance. I have like the litter boxes and the food in the morning and the night, and it's all good. They live there. I drop by.
Randy and
I had a cat though. I did have a cat once, and it committed suicide. I think I've been traumatized by that. I was chasing it up the balcony in New York, and it ran onto the roof, and then it was running away from me, and it leapt off the building, 9 stories.
9 lives.
Yeah, I'm sure it landed fine. Okay, we're moving on.
I'm sorry.
Porn, pizza, pussycats.
I
That's
love
my
it.
contribution.
Okay. James, what have you got for us at number 3?
Number 3.
Number 3, it's sort of in conjunction with
Right.
your porn.
Where do you draw the line?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the celebrity nudes of 2017. The people that I'm really happy that have put their penises out there to share with us.
I've seen more celebrity peen this year than ever before.
I think so too. I think it's a wonderful trend. I'm really thankful for a blog called Oh My God Blog, which every day Blake comes and have you seen? And it's a lot of reality stars and people,
Even if it's like a UK reality star, we don't care.
Yeah.
And it's the context of doing research for the WoW report. There's nothing.
Now we're talking about it.
It's all
Just
grist
in
for the
case
mill.
our bosses anywhere.
But also there's been a paradigm shift, right?
Well,
because
that's just it.
It's
because
cat's out of the bag, so to speak.
a lot of people,
Uninteresting.
when you think of Kanye, when you think of 50 Cent, when you think of a lot of people uploading pictures of their penis and sending it to people and
haven't
it
seen
getting
those.
out there.
Kanye's penis is out there?
Kanye's is
50
out there.
Cent's penis? I haven't seen it.
Orlando Bloom recently, was out with Katy Perry, and he was
Yes.
he was photographed with his penis out, and he was fine with it, and that's set a precedent that like everyone was like, it's just a penis, it's no big deal. Justin Bieber then decided to one up him because he and Orlando have a bit of a tit for tat thing going. Orlando beat him up one time in a nightclub,
really?
and so in Italy, I think this was
Allegedly.
years ago. No, it's not allegedly. It happened. But so when Orlando did it, then Justin was out with his wang wagging in the wind. And so if you remember that was like 2 years ago. That was very exciting. A lot of people. I'm just going to go through. I know we've had this conversation before.
Well, what's the show? That you said they every cast member on the show was showing that penis.
Teen Wolf.
Teen
Wolf.
Wolf. Happening, yes.
Yeah, Teen Wolf.
There was also Chris Brown, 5 Seconds of Summer's Callum Hood, Dylan Sprouse.
Callum Hood was was the year before.
Yeah,
that.
this is
okay.
just sort of like
This is-
cumulative. But Dylan Sprouse, Diplo, Cheyenne Jackson, if you remember that one, was a lovely little bit of Colin Farrell with his famous sex tape, Tommy Lee, 50 Cent, Cameron Dallas, Christopher Maloney, a lot of people on their, in TV shows. Luke Perry was on Oz, and he was really gorgeous, if you remember. Johnny Galecki was on stage, and it was one of the biggest things you've ever seen. Daniel Radcliffe did Equus, and it was just a lovely thing to see. Michael Pitt, Robbie Williams, Christopher Atkins, going back a few years.
But there was full frontal on that Bridget Everett pilot.
Yes.
There was supposedly prosthetic penises on girls.
Sarah Silverman.
There's a
The
new
Sarah
one with-
Silverman
Silverman
program.
had regular.
Josh
penis.
Hutcherson just started a show on Hulu, I think, this
Future
week.
Man.
Future Man, yeah. And the whole storyline is that he's got a huge penis, and you see it. And everything.
Really? 'Cause-
But I think it's
But
nice
haven't his nudes leaked before?
They have. But the whole idea that, for a millennia, men have been, sort of, it's nice that it's turnabout is fair play, and that for, women have always been objectified, and now we're objectifying the men, and it's a good
We're
thing.
looking at natural parts of us.
Exactly.
Well, do you think there's a possibility then that all this penile exposure will lead to a reduction of sexual harassment? Or is the...
I do think if there's, and what do I know? I'm going to step into a muddy.
I know, we're
puddle.
I feel the ice getting thinner.
But there's something about taking away the shame of sex
Yes,
and
yeah.
the shame of nudity. That I'm not saying it's going to take away sexual predators or awful behavior, but I think it's going to maybe ease some of the
evens the
tension.
playing field a little bit.
And it makes it not like, it's just like, put it away, or who are you, or I don't know. But again, I'm not an expert and don't.
But
leave me
it's
comments.
just one of those things that I've noticed a shift in cultural phenomena, and I just think it's a nice thing.
Can I take a quick break from gratitude to bitch about something really quick?
Oh, yeah.
Which is recently that Mark Wahlberg, said, is this true that he said that he prays to God that he forgives him for doing
Boogie
nights.
Speaking of exposed penises,
I've
But
heard
that
that.
was... I mean, also, why are you praying about a prosthetic penis? It wasn't even his penis.
I think he has a lot of shame about his underwear model days and things like that because he's a big hoity-toity Hollywood producer now.
I think
and
that is a shame, right?
And he's discovered God and everything. But there is
God gave us penises.
Yeah, I don't
people,
think there's
some of us.
anything wrong with it. I just love a good celebrity nude.
Love a good schlong.
But I
So-
do want to point out though that it's not people who have been had their leaked against their will and things like that. That's exploitative. I don't. I like it when the people do it themselves and think, here it is. And
exactly.
This is my body and I love it and let's have some fun with it.
So it's Dankeschön, right? Dankeschön for the donkey schlong.
Dankeschön for the donkey.
If you want to see more, go to OMG Blog, of course.
Sure.
OMGblog.com, right?
Who was nominated for a Wowie Award this year?
Fantastic. I hope they win. I wonder if they will.
Number 2.
So my number 2, I am grateful for, well, here's the thing. They say to be increasing, to get your gratitude gig together, to get more grateful, you should keep a gratitude diary.
Sure.
Yes.
And I was like trying to do that and having a little bit of writer's block. And they said, well, one thing you could do is think about what you would be grateful for. So if you can't think of anything you are grateful for, think about what you could be grateful for, which is a tip. But then in the course of this, I realized that actually I do keep a diary, and it's really Instagram. And I'm really grateful for Instagram. I love Instagram. Now, people have complained about Instagram, that people are showing off about their lives. But I find the most amazing thing about Instagram is it ends up being this diary, this sort of diary of your life.
Visual diary.
I'm often just sitting there lying in bed, going through my Instagram diary. Oh, that was nice. Remembering, like, I went here, I went there. The other thing I love about Instagram is that you can just make out of anything that happens a beautiful moment. It's not necessarily a moment to shame others or put others down by increasing the glamour, but you could just making a photo out of a moment.
But you love wallpaper. I know I've seen posts of you like capturing amazing wallpaper.
Obsessed with wallpaper. I suppose if you love things, if you're a thingy-oriented person, Instagram is just perfect.
But on the flip side of that, I mean, what I love most about Instagram is not my
People's
own wonder,
dicks.
my
Not
own
people's dicks.
no, not my own wonderful feed. But I love just being so close to friends that I haven't seen in 20 years, and that now I know every moment of their day, and people that I never thought that I would be friends with, that I just have a casual interest in. I feel like now we're friends.
I think that is really fascinating because that is also the logical reason for it. It's a sort of one of the sort of social media's a way of staying connected with people you don't see. I have found, however, that yes, I follow my friends and I'm interested. And I also occasionally follow celebrities. And I'm sort of interested, but not really, because you feel with most of the celebrities on Instagram that it is a sort of exercise in PR, that it is somehow
curated, controlled, they can't go too far.
It doesn't feel completely candid, although funny, I feel Madonna's moments are actually surprisingly candid.
Yes.
But I have found myself getting into these sort of virtual obsessions with people who I have no idea who they are.
I find that all the time.
It's almost like pen pals. They live halfway across the world, and I chance upon them, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I start following them, and then I become obsessed with them.
Yes, I do it all the time.
I always think the ones I'm obsessed with, like, another day at the pool? Another Speedo? No.
But there are people that I have become Instagram obsessed with, and then I end up meeting them.
Oh, you do?
And Jasper is somebody that I found. I was following Billy, and I was following you, and I was like, "Who's that boy with the pink hair?" And I just started following him.
Right.
And then I got to meet him a few weeks later, and it was like, "Oh, well, Jasper, blah, blah, I remember the blah blah," blah, and like all of a sudden we have like a common ground.
So you already know each other instantly.
Yeah. And I will say, I follow you on Instagram, so I feel like I see you every day, so that we don't have to have that awkward building a relationship, because I know what goes on in your house.
And then when you're done with them, you just unfriend.
And James gets a lot of people for transformations from Instagram.
I do. I end up finding a lot of drag queens and makeup artists.
With all of the crummy things that social media supposedly does or can do, it's a great thing.
I find it, especially at World. I'm sorry, you went like, really, James?
No, James.
But a lot of drag queens, I find international drag queens now. There's like a girl, Sad Salvia in Wales. We just found Hungry for transformations. She came over from Berlin.
Who is now working.
Now she does Bjork. She does all of Bjork's makeup, and I find lots of really fascinating people.
So I'm very grateful for Instagram, and you can download the Instagram app on your phone.
What?
I love how completist you are about this.
Or you can visit Instagram.com. If you're one of the, because 600 million people do.
You can also take pictures with your smartphone.
Do you know, but it's amazing. What
It
do you
is
think-
amazing.
What do you think is the most popular hashtag?
Blessed.
That's a good guess, actually.
Flashback Friday.
It's love. And what is the most popular emoji?
The heart.
Yes. Okay. We have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to reveal the number one thing we are most grateful for.
I don't know what this is.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
No,
I do
go
have
ahead.
one more question.
Your show.
What is the most popular filter on Instagram? We'll have the answer for you when the Wow Report continues on Radio Andy SiriusXM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back. We've been doing a very special Thanksgiving Day show.
Gobble, gobble.
Yes. And we've been counting down the top 10 things that make us go,
Thank you.
All right. So what's the number one thing that we are most grateful for?
No. You had a question.
Oh, yes, I did. That's quite right.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I was asking you what the number one filter on Instagram is.
I didn't look.
I did.
So I'm going to make a guess before you who looked.
Were you cheating?
No, I was just looking at the options.
I think I tend to go with Chrome or Lark.
See,
And I'm going to go with Lark.
I'm a Ludwig or
Oh.
what's the V? Valencia? No.
Valencia, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. But I think it might be X Pro 2.
I'm a Rise or an Amaro, because I always like the pictures to be a little lighter.
Yes,
There
yes,
you
yes.
go. Blake?
I don't really use Instagram.
All right, well.
Oh, for the vault.
I like Facebook.
The number one filter most used on Instagram is no filter.
What?
Yep.
Bunch of boring ass
That feels
basic.
like a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
So what's the number one thing that makes us go, thank you?
I don't know.
Number one.
We talked about this.
We did.
I think it's a two-parter
Yeah.
because I think we're grateful for each other.
Oh, yes.
We're grateful that we get to come together every week and count down the top 10 things that make us go wow. This
I
has
have
been
to tell you, I am crabby most of the time, but this always puts a pep in my step. After I do an awful show and I sort of fuck it all up, I just feel so much better.
and there's lots of connections between us, but the reason we are here, the person who's giving us this opportunity,
Yes.
not to sound too sucky uppy, but is Andy Cohen. We're on Radio Andy. So thank you, Andy, for this opportunity to do our little crazy show once a week on your radio.
Do you remember when you first met Andy?
I do.
Tell me.
Well, I think I'd heard about him first from my friend Carolyn Strauss, who worked on Sex and the City at HBO, and Sarah Jessica had introduced Carolyn to Andy, and she says, "You're going to like this guy." And then I met him, I think, at UTA. He was an executive at Trio, which was you guys produced some stuff for, and I had just produced when I was at Evolution, Boy Meets Boy.
Yes.
That show where
Yes.
the gay bachelor didn't know that some of the guys were straight, which is not as bad as it sounds. And he wanted to know, it was like a professional meeting, we're supposed to be pitching him stuff, and he's like, "Stop that, just tell me everything about Boy Meets Boy, tell me about Andra." And in that moment, I saw the Andy Cohen that everyone knows and loves, which is he is pop culture obsessed, watches everything, knew every detail. This is before Housewives or anything like that. And he charmed me over. And
Same thing. It was a very early morning. I was with RuPaul. It was early supermodel days, and Ru was going on.
CBS morning show.
He was. That's right. And it was some ungodly hour. It was definitely still dark outside.
And Ru's in drag.
And Ru's in drag.
Oy.
And Andy Cohen comes to meet us, and he was so nice and wide awake and charming and solicitous and sweet and seductive, and just looked at you, and he was cute. It was just like, I was like, wow, I'm glad I got up early this morning because, you know.
And we've had a chance. Have you met Andy?
I have. In fact, I met Randy for the first time at Randy's house.
You met
I
Andy at
believe.
Randy's
I
house.
met Andy at Randy's house, and it was that evening with Bill Condon and Lauren Zelaznik, and Bill was casting Dreamgirls at the time, and we were all sitting around trying to figure out who could play Effie. And Andy was like as bubbly and as cute as.
Do you remember people's choices? That's really good.
No, I remember. It was who's called Jennifer Hudson.
Hudson.
We all kept saying that again and again. But the one that we kept going back to was Whitney's daughter. What was it? Bobby Christina. We kept saying Bobby Christina needs to play it. Bobby
I thought it was going to be
R.I.P.
Fantasia.
I think Fantasia was
running.
thrown in there, yeah. But I also auditioned one time for Queer Eye for the Straight Girl. And I remember going in and he was the guy there, and
He was the one that said next.
yeah. But he was very, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I was sort of like an idiot, but he was very sweet.
Very sweet.
Well, that's all. Thank you, Andy.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all we have time for today. Start your free trial of WOW's new streaming service, WOW Presents Plus. You can watch original series, Valentina, Detox, Bob the Drag Queen, and loads of award-winning films, documentaries, drag, LGBT, everything. I mean, WOW Presents on YouTube is still going, absolutely.
Yes.
But this is just a way to have a little premium service if you want.
Yes.
And also, oh my gosh, Trixie and Katya show, Wednesdays Viceland.
Yes.
Real Estate Wars, Thursdays, 10 p.m. Bravo. $1 Million Listing LA, Thursdays, 9 p.m.
lead-in
Bravo. So
to-
you can have a,
yes.
you can have a sort of double real estate orgy. Ugh. And of course, RuPaul's Drag Con is almost upon us.
Oh dear Lord! It's
This is the plugging part of the show.
May 11th, 12th, and 13th. So James will be there being mobbed by his fans.
Yeah, we are.
Thank you for tuning in. Really. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
So same time, same place?
Yes.
Next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go.
Wow!